Prepare to pay tribute to the devouring tree as you embark on a life and death journey to strike down your enemy. With a solid combo of RPG elements and explosive action, Warlander is a fine fix for those seeking to try out a new hybrid adventure. In a mystical world, you play as the warrior Bruce, who is resurrected and brought back to the surface to avenge his fallen clan. Through a procedurally generated system of progression, you'll travel across ruined and technologized lands while slaying all those who stand in your path. Armed with a talking sword named Ferguson, experience points will be earned and body parts will be collected as you work your way through a small array of foes until you reach the endgame of Warlander, defeating Morven the Immortal. Each arena will be different from the last, as you further employ unlocked skills and abilities to strengthen your character. For video game titles that feature procedurally generated worlds, the results could either be very rewarding or quite dull. In Warlander's case, it's leading toward more of the former. Thanks to the permanent abilities you can acquire from defeating the bosses, the replay factor remains high even after you've restarted the game for the 4th or 5th time. While permadeath could be frustrating, especially when you accidentally dash off a ledge and the game resets to the beginning, it forces you to think smarter when encountering enemies. The controls are easy to learn and navigate since the standard skill tree in the game offers several upgrades for Bruce. You can unlock special moves such as throwing your sword and having it come back to you, grabbing objects and enemies with a vine arm that can be quite useful in intense situations, shooting stakes from your arm to impale and decapitate the undead techno soldiers. In no time, you'll assemble a decent arsenal to go along with chest buffs that can be chosen after almost every arena. These range from movement speed to increase in health and energy pools to even life stealing from your opponents after each strike. The opening journey for Bruce begins on a high note, but due to the lack of rewards and scarce memory fragments to collect, I started to lose interest in the main narrative. The repeating dialogue between Bruce and Ferguson, and general lack of overall dialogue as well, becomes futile and annoying, and it doesn't help that the voice acting isn't performed with sufficient conviction and passion to make it more engaging. But when you do collect the memory fragments, Bruce will get to relive his memories before his death. These are worth perusing since it provides deeper insight and exploration to the lore that the gameplay doesn't essentially provide, albeit the level design will give the player a better understanding of the world that is met with fantasy and strange technology. Strolls and encounters have their own musical cues that aren't mundane, and they fit appropriately well with this fantasy sci-fi world. When facing enemies, the music would mix guitar riffs with futuristic loops that would get me pumped to slice apart my adversaries. Even when you're entering a section when you pay tribute to the devouring tree to upgrade your abilities, the music feels so smooth. And in between selecting where to go next after you portal your way out of an arena, the sound mixing, on the other hand, could use a bit more polishing. There are certain breakages in the sound effects when the action escalates, and the music would cut off for a split second. Usually when this happens, the frame will drop a few numbers and then quickly resume to normality. It's not a huge issue, but it can get annoying after a while. All in all, the graphics are fun to experience, and they're pretty impressive from an indie studio that opened up merely a few years ago. It feels cartoonish with all the bright colors and sunshine, but it can get exceptionally dark and slightly lit with neon lights. Some of the arenas are a shameful copy and paste case, especially when they're the same one after the other. As you progress through these lands, new set pieces will be explored and different encounters will be met, but I wish there was more of a variety with the arenas you visit. I will say that the bigger and more epic levels, usually the ones involving extended light bridges and a running train, are way more entertaining than some of the levels you'll run into. The journey of avenging your people and reaching the endgame of Warlander comes to a sudden stop after you enter through the final portal of the game. It basically goes back to the bottom of the tree of levels with increased difficulty and altered paths different from the previous life. As long as you don't die, you'll get to keep all your acquired buffs and skills, but the campaign loops itself to only defeat Morven once again, only harder this time. Because of this, the game can get stale after a while. Repetitive might be the correct word to use, but the action, even after packing about 10 hours into it, never gets old. It's a solid mix of Dark Souls and the Jedi Knight titles that players should look forward to. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, please hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to switch on the notifications bell icon next to it. That way you'll never miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.